All right, hello and welcome everyone. Doug here with the LincolnList.com. I want to welcome you back to Happy Hour with the Lincoln, where we talk whiskey and stocks and a bunch of other stuff in between. We're on episode number 21 today, so this should be a lot of fun. We'll get down to our whiskey review, and our guest for today will be the Crooked Fox. Now I'm going to put a picture of this up here. Never heard of this before, but I ran into it. It's got like two little foxes, and one of these foxes has like its eyes, like it's like a black line through their eyes, like when they're interviewing like a crooked criminal or something. I think that's what it is. Like they interview a crooked criminal on TV and they just like block out the eyes so you can't identify him. One of these foxes has that black line through it. Again, I'll put the picture up so you can see it. Never heard of this stuff, so I went to the website. I'm just going to read it off there because there's no way I was going to memorize all this. It's a blended bourbon, by the way. It says, Crooked Fox is a tribute to those who trusted and were betrayed. Nobody likes to be betrayed. Trust your instinct. That's their motto, by the way, which we're going to talk a little bit later. Trust your instincts. It's usually right. Inside of every bottle of Crooked Fox lies a well-balanced, unbelievably smooth blend of bourbon whiskeys, distilled and aged in two of America's proudest whiskey-making regions, Kentucky and Tennessee. Marca! After carefully maturing in wooden cask, we go barrel by barrel, selecting the best tasting bourbons to create a whiskey with a rich flavor of smoked maple, vanilla, nutmeg, oak, and malted barley with hints of rye. The result is a high quality whiskey that even the most sophisticated bourbon drinkers will appreciate. That remains to be seen. So will I taste the maple, vanilla, nutmeg, and oak? Probably not. I'm not that sophisticated. But we're going to find out in just a minute. Now, according to the website, again, this is an award-winning bourbon. This is not like a regular bourbon. I mean, this has got like gold medals. It's like the Michael Phelps of bourbons. They're the 2016 gold medal winner of the Wine and Spirit Wholesalers of America. I don't even know if these are really conventions or not, or real awards. I'm just reading it. The 2016 silver medal winner for the Los Angeles International Spirits Competition. So I guess in Los Angeles they have like a spirits competition where they hand out medals. Maybe I should do a happy hour from there. The 2016 silver medal winner for packaging design at that same show. So they did a double. They took home two medals. And the 2016 silver medal winner at the Seattle International Spirits Awards. So like these big cities have spirit awards for liquor and they just pass out medals. So these are like, I'll even have another one. It's the gold medal winner also at the 2016 Wine and Spirits Wholesaler of America Convention and Exposition. Whew, that's hard to get all that out. What is that? Spirit Wholesalers of America Convention and Exposition. Whew, that's a long one. So anyway, gold medal winner. Now, I've got gold medal in the hand. The Michael Phelps of bourbon blended whiskeys. Also, I'm going to post the pictures up. Everybody who runs this company, or the owners of this company, are really young. So they're starting them out young these days. It says they started their company in 2010. That's when I started the Lincoln List. As a result of a master's degree thesis project and a group of really dedicated people who share our vision. So this is also like a master's degree thesis. So the way I'm visioning this, and I might totally be wrong, is all these people got together and they're like, hey, what are we going to do for our school project? Let's make a whiskey. And they make a whiskey. They also have other stuff that this uses, but I guess they just got together and said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make a whiskey, and here they are. It says, we're still a family-owned and operated company and try to keep the family feel. Our culture is less corporate. They actually have corporate in quotes. I'm doing the air quotes for you. And more creative. Our building walls are brightly colored. Our windows are tilted on angles. And we have an air-conditioned warehouse. What the heck? They got an air-conditioned warehouse. Man, for all of their employees. They cook lunch every day with their full-time cook. So they got like a, full-time cook on staff. They have massage days. Celebrate their success. In short, we have personality, and it shows not only in our brands and our building, but in our people. Not bad. Our brands are a reflection of our personality. We wanted first and foremost high quality, exceptional style with our bottles and labels, offered at reasonable and fair prices. Interesting that I was looking around, I couldn't find, like just through just a basic search, how much this stuff actually cost. If you can actually get it, like it says you can get it in 750 mil, but I couldn't find it. We create great tasting brands. Our brands have story behind each one, where we have lived and people we have transformed our lives to. So pretty good. That's a big mission statement. So the way I get it, if I can remember what I just read, again, I'm just taking this off their website. This starts out as some sort of school project. They get this whiskey. They have this place, and it's full of air conditioning and nicely painted walls, and they have breakfast and food and all that kind of good stuff. What a place to work. It's like not only the Michael Phelps of whiskey, when you work there, it's like the Google of whiskey spirits to place to work. And as I said, they have a couple other types of spirits that they offer. So let's just get, I've ranted enough about it. It doesn't look, I don't know if you can see it, you probably won't. It doesn't look very clear. Like usually when you pour those, it is crystal clear. This is not. This is actually kind of murky, which you don't see a lot of whiskeys like that unless they're mixed with like an herb or a honey or something like that. So it's really murky. It is like almost like iced tea murky. Now the smell is that alcohol smell. Like when I discussed it before, again, like I'm not the super aficionado. I just like to drink whiskey. And I just, like with my trading, I'm never very technical. I'm not technical about my whiskey. I'm just one of those people I drink and I said, hey, that's good stuff. Or, hey, that tastes like crap, You can kind of smell, it's like when you first take a drink, you smell, if you smell too much alcohol, that to me feels cheap. And I think that's the reflection of cheap, because they're just overbearing with alcohol. And the really good whiskeys, like last week, we're testing the creme de la creme there with Octomore. And yes, it's got a high potency proof of liquor, but when you smell it, you're smelling other flavors and other things involved in the whiskey just besides the alcohol. When you're getting down into this, you just feel like you're on a corner, like, smelling Thunderbird or something. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But anyway, it's got that really stout alcohol smell, a lot like Ewan McGregor. I think I'm pronouncing that right, that we tested the other one. And that Honey Dewars Scotch had that sour alcoholic flavor. Let's give it a shot. Let's not let Thou'st Knows dictate the pleasures that may be in this glass. That's all alcohol. That's like alcohol and water. That is a very bland bourbon. That's bland. It's alcohol. It's all alcohol. It's almost like they put curry spice in mouthwash. Curry spice in I'm sorry, Crooked Fox. I am sorry. But that's the way it is, Crooked Fox. I don't know how much it is, but I would think something like this is going to run you $18 to $25. You're better divvying it up for the maker's mark. The Crooked Fox is crooked. So anyway, their logo says, trust your instincts. Now, you've always heard that before. Even the 311 song, remember? You got to trust your instinct. Sorry for the singing. You got to trust your instinct and let go of regret. This is what I want to talk to you in today's lesson about trading, is trusting your instincts. When I've said before that you need to have market experience, like people will try to convince you that technical analysis is the only way, fundamental analysis is the only way. And there's nothing out there where you can buy a system from somebody that's foolproof, guaranteed, and turnkey, where you just get this system, You study it over 1 or 2 days, and there you are making millions of dollars. Now that's the way you are. I don't know that you've necessarily you are led down that road by some people, but that's the feeling that a lot of traders get is there's magic systems, these bulletproof systems, and so on. Where I'm going here with this is in order for you to really become a successful trader, just like with anything else in life, you have to have experience. And unfortunately, you have to learn by experience. It's the only way we as human beings really learn how to do something is we have to learn a little. You don't have to like completely go the hard way, but you have to take a few bumps and bruises along the way before you can learn. This is where you develop your instinct. So I've been trading now for 16, 17 years. I don't know how many. It's thousands of market opens. So when I'm doing something today and somebody comes off the street and they see it, they might think, oh, like that's magic. How did you do that? How did you figure that out? Well, you're talking about thousands of trading days and thousands upon that, probably 20,000 plus transactions in my brokerage account from 1998 up until this very point. That's a lot of instinct that I've learned about the mechanics of the market. So what I'm saying to you is when you're just doing anything in life, whether you go start a business or you're trying to get involved in trading or you're struggling with your trading now, the period of learning is a period of developing your instincts on how you perceive the market and how you kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. Like when I first started out, it was all study. This is how it is. You're always studying, you're learning, you're watching the market. As you get longer term, I think back you get 10 years. People talk about keeping journals. I don't keep journals. Studying stuff. No, I'm living the market every day. It's like I've seen so many market opens. I already kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. Now, whether I'm able to react on that and profit from that, well, that's a different story. That varies. But those instincts are what we're trying to develop. That's part one of trusting your instincts. The other part about trusting your instinct is for every trader, there's going to come a time when your back is against the wall and money is on the line, and the only thing that's going to save you in that trade is your instincts, is the lessons that you have learned and the experience that you have gained from being involved in the market. That's the only thing that separates real winning traders from just amateurs or people that aren't getting by is how they manage those trades, how they trust their instincts, how they've taken those lessons and developed those instincts throughout, several months or several years of back testing a strategy and working on a strategy. That's what makes traders stressful. You'll also run into a situation where you become confused. This is what we have to deal with psychologically as traders. You become confused about a position. You may scour through social media, and there'll come a time where someone that you really trust, someone you believe, or a whole group or a herd of people will disagree with your thoughts and feelings about a stock. Now, they ultimately may end up being right. But the point is, you will have to trust your instincts on why you got into a trade. You have to trust your instincts as to whether or not, hey, am I in over my head here? Is this stock a loser that I will never be able to make a winner? Am I falling victim to my own ego here? Or is my instinct tell me this trade is right, I'm just being squeezed. This trade is right, it's just not working out for the moment and I'm missing something. What is it? And again, this is what we're talking about when I say instincts and I say experience. It takes time when you trade stocks. Unfortunately, it's not what a lot of people want to hear, but it takes time for you to develop those instincts. Trust your judgment, trust what you have learned, and apply those into practices. Because at the end of the day, like I've said so many times before, nobody but you is responsible for your own actions. So when your bills come due at the end of every month, that trader online who told you that was a bad idea is not going to divvy up your mortgage payment or your car payment. You're responsible for your own actions. Therefore, you're responsible for developing your own instincts and honing those and believing in yourself, your ability, and what you have created and how you have built your stock market business. That way you can maximize it and make as much money as possible. So that's it, man. That is it. I think we should be talking about some stocks, right? Let's do some stock talk. That's time for that. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at Mr. Spy here and get a couple of technical levels set up here for the week and share some ideas here with you. Now, I think maybe we've seen something here this week that we haven't seen in quite some time. And what I'm talking about is the mechanics of the way the market has worked. And where I'm going with this is that before, for as long as I can remember here in recent memory, any kind of news that hit the market, whether it was perceived as a negative like Brexit or the election or whatever it may have been thrown at this market, it somehow took that negative and spun it into a positive. And that's a signs of a really strong bull market when good news makes the market go up, bad news makes the market go up, and untranslatable, who knows what kind of news, just makes the market go up. So again, we've been in that kind of phase for quite some time where everything that's been thrown at this market has caused it to go up. Now, last week we kind of made mention after the State of the Union speech here, you got this maybe right now it looks like a knee-jerk pop. We're going to find out whether this means anything here a little bit later on. But since that pop, this market has done nothing but sell off. Now, granted, it hasn't like collapsed or crashed or flushed or had any kind of selling panic, but any type of rally or any piece of news that has hit this market has had that adverse effect. It's no longer giving the market those legs to make new highs. And when I look back throughout my career and you start to think about different, I'm not saying that we're in the midst of a market crash here, but when I look at several corrections that I've gone through in the markets, there was always these little subtle clues ahead of time that kind of gave you a hint that, okay, well, things aren't working the way they used to. And where I'm trying to be specific about this is on Friday, we had the employment numbers, payroll reports come out, and it was a beat. Normally, that was an event that really sent the market on these 3 to 4 day run up, just melt up, nutty moves. And it started out that way in the pre-market, but here on Friday, you see, all it did was start to fade. So it's like the news is starting not to have the same type of impact on the market. Now, this could all be all for naught. Maybe something comes along and starts grinding itself back up. The thing is, when you have such a bullish market like this, it's not going to just correct in one day. It's going to take a little bit of time. And the reason for that is because, institutions, funds, traders, and such are so used to doing business a certain way. Let's say buying the dip. It's been kind of a joke, but it's something that a lot of people do, is they've been rewarded for buying the dip in the market. So you're going to have to shake out that group of people. You're going to start breaking down some deeper technical levels. But, maybe, just maybe this is something that we need to look at. One of the keys that will kind of isolate this is that coming up here on Wednesday, we've got the Fed meeting. The talk is a 1/4 point increase, but we're going to see how that plays out. That's the way the market reacts to this, and what happens on Wednesday could really tell the sign about where this market goes. Now, it tested the 20 moving average for the first time in a while, especially since this run started on February 9th. It's the first time it tested what this green line is here on the daily chart. First time it tested the 20 moving average. So if you're looking for downside and you want to start thinking corrections, you've got investment money or something like that, if you start getting down, I really can't say that the market will go bearish until you break out or break below the 50 moving average, which is 230. So that's 7 points away. And you'd have to make a clean break of that and stay under that for a little bit of time before you could say, all right, we're really starting to correct. But the first things first, on a shorter term basis, I'd look for 235s. If these 235 goes, which is the pivot from the lows of Thursday, then you might start to see, the next support levels would be somewhere down around that 50 moving average. And then, of course, if they enjoy the Fed and the thing starts kicking up again, or you start seeing some rippage, the all-time highs are up there in the 240 areas right up here. So again, stuck in a little bit of range, but you're starting to see some mechanics of this market change that we want to keep our eyes on going into the future. Now, as far as stocks, we saw some better behaviors with them as far as ranges and some nicer moves, because a lot of these stocks have just been dead. But what I want to look at here is Fizz. This is a pretty good move here on the daily. I'm definitely looking for this as a short. I think it might be a little too late, or you're deeper in the innings cycle here if you're trying to go long at 71s. Now, this is, I wouldn't say normal, but not something that's abnormal when you have something that comes out of earnings, and a lot of times they'll spike. So this thing makes a move from 60 to 71 in a short period, 2 days actually. And it's gone pretty vert, and it's done so without any kind of real pullback. You look at this thing when it started right here. I mean, look at this thing. It's just been melting and melting and melting away to the edge of the universe here. So I'm looking to short this. I would prefer to do it on some sort of vertical parabolic, but it doesn't look like this is the kind of stock that's going to give that to you. It's just going to melt away. So if we start working ourselves to where we get a third day, starting on Monday, we start to see something around 74, 75, I'd give it a shot as a short. I wouldn't do any kind of shorting in the hole, meaning dip into dips or breakdown of a moving average. This thing just hasn't been cooperative for it, but maybe, you know, just it's obviously operating very slow, but anything can change. And this is a pretty good move at 2 days, and it's worth taking a look at for a short. Now, if you also remember last week, the stock I liked long, which is longing breakouts is not, I'll just be honest with you, that's not my thing. That's not what I do or where I excel. But there are charts that I can see just from studying charts. And I really like this NSP. I thought this was going to be a good breakout. And there it was. It was a nice one going from 85s to 88s. Now, just like you see on Fizz, it might be moving a little bit ahead of itself. And this is one thing when we talk about shorting stocks that a lot of traders never understand, or if you're new to trading, what you're trying to grasp is that stocks just don't go straight up or straight down. They go up and they go down. So in a very good case, NSP demonstrates that by going vertical after earnings, peaking out at 85, 65, but then fading back, back testing some of those gains, profit taking, and fading down into the 83s, building a pattern, and then re-ramping back to 88. The thing that traders do a lot is they buy at these tops and then they sell in panics on these bottoms when the stock fades and then it rallies back. This is all about understanding charts and understanding your buying and selling areas and so on. I don't have time to get into that now, but this is obviously starting to kind of get away here. So it's starting to take off and starting to ramp up pretty good. So if it goes vertical or it gets nice and steep on Monday, I'll take a look at this one. Kind of like Fizz, it might not set itself up well, because you might get in this situation here where you're not getting a lot of strong volume in this. You can see there's patches here where it's almost not even being traded. So anyway, maybe just watch this NSP here, see if it lines up well. Also KITE. I mean, I think when you're looking at all of these, KITE might be the very best of these when it comes to shorting. A lot like NSP, it back tested its levels. And this was a wide range. I mean, this thing peaked over here early at $80, then pulls back to 73. So, it gave back $7 worth of its gains, only to retest highs a few days later. And we've talked about that too last week, about how strong these biotechs have been. And this one's getting vertical. You can see the difference. It's starting to really speed up, starting to get vertical on the daily charts. One of the things that I always like to look at when I'm looking at daily charts for shorts is the separation between the 20 moving average and the actual price of the stock. And if you look at that, that's this green line down here. So you're looking at $64 is the 20 moving average, and you're 83 to price. That's a pretty significant spread. It's even a big spread, almost $10 from the near-term 10 moving average on the daily chart. So this thing's getting a little bit steep, regardless of what your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings are towards KITE. It's getting up there, and you're starting to get those chasers coming in with a fear of missing out syndrome. So I'm going to be looking for this thing to do the exact same thing, which is get up there, get vertical, and maybe offer a pretty good short. Last, I'll do IDXS. This one's also the same thing, but you see this one has absolutely zero pullback at all. So again, all of these kind of the same theories looking at. We got a lot of good runners this week, a lot of good verticals. Want to try to see how some of these set up Monday. You got to get that big early morning rush to get these things to make, at least in my strategy, to want to short them. But, we'll see if they actually do that or not. All right, well, anyway, guys, thanks. Thanks again. If you stuck around this long, deep into the happy hour with me and the Crooked Fox, then bless you. Bless you for that. So, in review, man, no to Crooked Fox. No, Sorry, Crooked Fox. Sorry, as I said, sorry about your building and your air conditioning, your tilted windows, your mission statements. This is just pure kerosene. Just, ugh. But respect. It does smell a little bit more like bourbon now I'm getting to the end. But remember about trusting your instincts. This is what your whole life, the success of your life, the things that will happen to you in life will be a product of you following the gut, the old instincts. And you'll have to develop those instincts through time, patience, and process. Also, don't forget, you need some help with this, you know? You don't have a process. You're just stuck rolling around in trader land like you're a hamster on a wheel. One winner, one loser, one winner, one loser. Your account just stays the same like this. Visit thelincolnlist.com. See us trade. See if our strategies, see if the teachings that we develop can help you become a good trader. Other than that, guys, next week is a big one. Why? St. Patty's Day. Got a special surprise for everyone. Until episode number 22, I want to thank you again for bearing with me in the Crooked Fox. Take care of yourself. Cheers.